Welcome, we've got a little head-to-head in the studio today on the GC2 HMT launch monitor here. So two sort of new clubs to the market. We've got the brand new TaylorMade M2 iron. So very forgiving iron from TaylorMade. They're saying it's very long, it's high ball flight, against the new Callaway XR OS iron. So XR was out last year for Callaway, but they've changed it slightly. They've made it a little bit more sort of bulkier. Hence the OS for oversized, so more forgiving clubs. So these are sort of very like for like in terms of what the two companies are trying to deliver: ultimate forgiveness but distance at the same time. So we're going to put these head to head, very similar in the terms of the spec. I've got the TaylorMade in the React steel, so it's their stock shaft in a stiff flex, and then in the Callaway OS I've got the Speed Step 80 again in a stiff. So very, very similar on the spec. We'll bang them head to head and let's see which one sort of gives us the best numbers and maybe just sneaks a little bit on that distance. So we'll talk a little bit about lofts a bit later on in the video, but I just want to maybe just see which one is going to go out there the furthest, and we'll take these lofts into account because I know that is a bit of a sticky subject in a way with a lot of golfers. Okay, so we'll start with the Callaway first. So XR OS. They're both 7 irons these, by the way. So I'll hit 4 shots with each, and we'll just compare some numbers. Okay, so very sort of thick top line on this Callaway. Bit of offset there. It's looks very friendly. Not a bad strike. Quite a hollowy sort of sound to that. Okay, so that's carrying at 182. That's a poor strike. Get rid of that. That was an awful strike, that, to be honest. I'm going to try and keep these on some good strikes here to get the numbers as accurate as possible. That was very heavy, that one. Just pull that a little bit there. Struck nicely though. Feels very sort of solid. Feels powerful off the face. It's like I say, it's very hollowy sort of sound. Now there is a cut 360 design on this, so it is undercut, but it's sort of filled in, but still giving that sort of hollow sound to the strike. Right, hit one more of this. Yeah, good solid strike. Okay, so we're just going to switch over to the M2 and then we'll have a look at the numbers just after we've done that. Right, TaylorMade M2 now in my hands. Okay, so we're going to hit 4 shots for this and then we'll compare some numbers. Okay, so in terms, just to give you a little brief outline on what it looks like behind the golf ball there. Obviously it's a little more of a smoked finish, so a little bit different on its finish appearance there. You can see it's more of a darker smoked sort of finish. Still maybe sort of a thickish top line there, bit of offset similar to the Callaway there, maybe a little bit longer, or visually looks longer from toe to heel there, so maybe looks like a slightly bigger hitting area. Okay, let's hit 4 with this. Yeah, a little bit pushy, but struck it really well. So that was 184 carry. It's a better one. Yeah, good strike there. 189 carry. So squeeze a little bit more out of that one. strike. That feels really good. .193 carry, a little bit more out of that again. That's a really good strike, that one. Okay, so one more. Oh, it's a little bit of a pull, that one. Struck it well, just a bit pulley. Yeah, so that's gone a little bit further. It's a little bit of a pull. Okay, 4 shots hit with each, so let's go and have a look at some numbers and maybe just talk a little bit about lofts, a little bit on its performance and see which one is just edging it. Okay, so important numbers time here. So you can see we've got XR OS 79 here, TaylorMade M2. So 2 rows of averages in these 2 grey boxes. So let's quickly look along here. There's a couple of interesting numbers here to really look at. Now, just before I maybe start with these numbers, we're going to talk about loft, which is always a bit of a subject, you know, this loft jacking a lot of these brands are getting into. Now, Callaway XR OS iron is measuring, the 79 is measuring at 31.5 degrees of loft. The TaylorMade M2 is 28.5, so it's 3 degrees stronger on the loft as the M2. Now, TaylorMade is saying there's a reason for that. Because of the technology in the club, how the ball launches, they've had to strengthen the lofts to get the launch at a normal launch angle, if that makes sense. Now, a lot of you out there will just automatically look at the loft and think, oh, it's 3 degrees stronger, that's obviously going to go further. But I'm just going to show you a few details there between those shots I've hit. I've not changed anything technically wise, I've just hit it as I would hit it. There's nothing different with the spec of the club really. A couple of grams in the shaft, but this is going to make a massive difference to sort of launch and spin and basically the dynamic loft I'm going to produce, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So, looking along here, we've got ball speed. So obviously the TaylorMade's coming out a little bit hotter on the ball speed, a little bit more efficient there. Now launch angle here. So Callaway averaged at 18.5, TaylorMade was 17.7. So it was only half, sort of just over half a degree lower in its launch. Bearing in mind that last one I hit, you can see 16.3. I pulled that. I shut the face on the golf club. So that was more me than the actual golf club. So you can see the decent strikes here are on 18 to 17 sort of mark. Very similar to the sort of Callaway one, really. So not a massive change in launch angle, considering it was 3 degrees stronger in its static loft. Okay, interesting. Looking at spin. Okay, so 5.621 against 5.4. So very, very similar. Just a fraction lower with the TaylorMade, but not a lot, to be honest. Again, maybe doesn't equate to the 3 degrees stronger on its loft. Peak height, interesting. So 3 degrees stronger on the loft, but the same peak height on average there, and the same descent angle in degrees on average. Carry distance. Now this is where it's interesting. So you can see 184 Callaway against the 191. So the TaylorMade is squeezing that extra yardage out there, possibly because of the extra ball speed of it coming off the club face. Maybe a smidge low on the spin. It's just giving that extra carry on the distance. Now I'm just going to move along here and look at the HMT data here. So this column here, loft, so down here, and this is the dynamic loft that I produce at impact. Okay, not at setup, but at impact. These numbers are exactly the same, give or take 0.2 of a degree. So statically, TaylorMade is 3 degrees stronger. Looks like, well, that's got to go further. But what I'm actually producing at impact is pretty much the same in terms of dynamic loft. Why that is, I'm not too sure, but that's, you know, there's no denying on HMT numbers there. The launch is very, very similar. So for me, TaylorMade is coming out on top there, not because it's 3 degrees stronger statically, it's because probably a bit of speed to spot action. I don't know, but it's performing. I'm getting more out of it. But end of really. So interesting numbers there. Two really sort of forgiving irons, but TaylorMade's just pipping it there. Okay, so yeah, interesting numbers there. I think a lot of you will have your own opinions on these lofts of the golf clubs, but I think if you look at my M2 review I've done on my channel, you'll notice how I pitched it up against my personal Strixon Z745 iron, which by no means the strongest on lofts, yet the launch was very, very similar. And we've seen that again here. So we've got 3 degrees difference between the lofts here, yet launch hasn't really changed that much. The spin hasn't really changed that much. The dynamic loft I'm producing hasn't really changed that much. So don't maybe try and look beyond these static measurements that the companies sort of put on the website. You know, I think it's definitely the key here, and I've proved it probably, you need to get fit. That's the whole idea of using Launch Monitor. You deliver the club differently to anybody, to the next person, to the next person. You've got to come and get fit. Hit them side by side against each other, other brands possibly. Let's get these launch conditions here and let the club do its work and see which one comes out on best for you. For me, out of those two, TaylorMade is a clear winner there. You know, I like that extra distance I'm getting. It felt good. I like the look. The sound was a little bit more solid. Maybe the Callaway, as I said, sounded a little bit more hollow there on the strike, which I didn't like. Maybe a bit too much offset for me personally, but that would suit maybe a lot of golfers there. So, interesting numbers. Comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts on those two irons and the subject of these lofts. It'd be interesting to hear your sort of views. And have you tested the M2 yet? I know it's only just new on the market, but have you tested it? If so, you know, let me know what you feel about it. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to see more videos like this, and we'll see you all very soon.